have a family that, while growing up, it's not like they are so rich, but their dad said something. He said anything is going to take for him to send his children to a particular university. It's not like they have the money. He said because he had found out that the Kinikon of Lagos State attend the same university. This Kinikon of this state attend the same university. So I'm going to be sending my own children there so that they will go and mingle with them. Do you understand? And truthfully, it works.
It works.
I can tell you today, this I mean, two of them. One of them, I saw her on Instagram lately, and I saw she was making the hair of somebody, and I'm like, Jesus, this is this girl. I mean, she wouldn't have had that. I mean, she might have, but then that connection was so fast. It was so fast because of the kind of university she went to.
So what you are saying now is that exclusive education, that investment,
it's an investment.
Yes, because you can hardly find. I mean, the children of an affluent person in just any house.
Even for the parents.
Find them there.
Even for the parent is an advantage when they say come for parent-teachers meeting.
Yes.
You go there and you're seeing governors, ministers, and you're all parents.
So we are coming to the same stage now.
No, that's why I said we should demystify it. We should be clear with our definitions and how we want to put them. There are levels to private schools. We just talked about ones that what did I send their children to. And there are some that just ordinary, fairly average parent can send their children to.
You may not meet leaders. You may not be able to afford Elton College or whatsoever. But then, in your local environment, there are schools
the ones can afford.
Yes, the ones who can afford that will make a difference in the life of your child.
I know a close story of someone that sent their child to a private school here in Nigeria, and eventually the girl got married to one of the children of one of the most affluent people in Nigeria because they met in school and the same school. And the truth is, yes, that can happen. That can work out as well. But then we should not. Now, for me, the issue may have is comparing, because even when we compare, there are some indices that do not balance out in the comparison that will still look out of again. Because I know secondary schools that have been private schools that have been there and like, is this a private school? You know that you question, and sometimes okay, they know what they are doing.
So it's not in the structure. How are you comparing them?
The thing is,
I'm comparing them in the
billionaire. All these affluent people, billionaires, and they went through this government university, this government secondary school that we are talking about. But I feel it's just because government did not pay so much attention on this school.
Maybe at that time it was better.
Yes,
that's like going to a private school.
And that was what actually gave edge to these private people. This private school. They look at what is lacking in this school. I mean, what is lacking in government school generally? Let me bring it.
And sometimes I remember this is a deliberate.
When I was in,
because some people feel that if we invest in this government school, our children will not be able to others. No,
with them.
This is somehow deliberate. And I'm not even afraid to say it.
They are equally gaining from the private schools. They are getting money from them.
Of course, they will pay tax.
Because it looks as if they are leaning on the positive products of this private school, what is given to the economy. That's why they are neglecting the government school. Okay, just for instance, you are supposed to let's say you're supposed to manage something and put in money there. But you find out that when you put in money there, it's not even going to generate your own personal income, right?
Yeah.
Then you find out that another person is actually managing something that when you get there, it will generate money for you.
Yes.
What will you now do?
What's happening in this?
That's just what is happening.
We are not investing in education.
Simple.
Just the way we are not investing in other sectors. And there is no way we can compete as a nation if we continue to do this.
Exactly.
There's a statistics that I don't know how correct it is, that by 2050 will be, is it 300 million or 600 million people in this country? But then what happens when we get to
300 million.
Yes, 300 million people in this country. Of course, we are already, they say we're about 240 million people already.
Yeah.
So we have the same infrastructure, dilapidated infrastructure,
there's
more
no
people,
improvement.
there is no improvement. And now our 200 million, 300 million population is going to be a bunch of people depending on government or depending on other countries, or will we actually be an asset to the world? It largely depends on the kind of education that we have.
Exactly.
We see some countries that are investing largely into STEM because you cannot compete.
Exactly.
You cannot compete in this generation without as a nation investing in STEM.
In STEM.
Now, when you see, look at the sugar that we eat in this country. No, so some 10 years ago, I was in Belgium in a class, and 10% of my class, my colleagues, had PhD in some science, in biomedical and industrial science, and I wrote a paper. I was studying the sugar business of the richest man in this country. And when I presented the paper, they now asked me, they said, how can your country, be spending so much money how can any country in Africa, the largest consumers of sugar in the world, are Africans. I think there's Brazil, which is not Africa. There's Egypt. I don't have the current statistics. And they were surprised at how much Egypt and Nigeria spend importing sugar. Importation of sugar was such a big deal in Nigeria that our government was looking for help. They gave some money that if you are ready to venture into this business. But do you know that most of our sugar is largely imported? The only person that had something that a similitude of serious business on sugar was Dangote. But the Dangote sugar is not done 100% in Nigeria. They also import brown sugar and do the final refinements in this. I wouldn't know all the factors responsible for that. When we say we produce cars in Nigeria, we just have car assembly plants. We cannot actually produce things from the scratch. We cannot produce semiconductors. Today we are all using phones, laptops, and everything. When we started by investing in grammar schools, just learning how to speak English, we killed our technical education. Children grew up in that system, and people started, when you put an eagle in the midst of hen, it starts reasoning like a hen.
Yeah.
So we were not raised in an environment where there was preference for what will give us competitive
Exactly.
as a people and as a nation.
Yeah.
So everybody grew up saying that this is what I like. You just want to take phone and become an influencer, but somebody's
I attended my secondary school. I attended a government school, and I could remember that those times there are equipments in secondary school, like our home economics lab. You get to cook. They teach you how to cook. For agriculture, I know how to plant. I still love planting, because then they expose us to planting. You plant what's it called? Ewedu. What's the name? I've forgotten the name. They provide you with people doing technical drawing. They bring live experience things for them.
Yes, I know how to mold blocks.
Right. There are teachers those times.
So where are those?
This
is
science now. Science laboratory. We have chemicals. They show you this is this. When you mix this one together, you make salt. But in government school these days, do we still have all these things? Are their laboratory up to standard? Do we have all these things in
laboratories? Cannot be up to standard. You cannot have qualified teachers. You know why? I don't think we remunerate teachers properly in this part of the country. So you have to be it has to be that it's either you just love teaching or you are unable to find a job.
And the teachers that we have now, they may not be up to date. They must be based on textbooks, what they've learned years ago, and because science changes every minute. And that's why for me, if I find a school where I know they'll teach my child with the internet, with magic screens, I know that they'll learn fast. Because they'll go online, they'll know what is current.
So you will send your child to a private school, not a public school.
So no, I didn't say that. Remember from the beginning, I believe that we shouldn't compare like totally like that. But we should understand the challenges, the problems, and okay, which is which. Even please, hold on, even if we say expensive, I talked about the value that comes with education being expensive, and just if you cannot afford it, then look for what you can afford and work with it. All there are options to it. It's not just cast in stone.
I think we should focus more on the higher education. We have dwelled enough on the before the tertiary.
Yeah, so the higher education now, and the truth is, they are almost likely the same thing when it comes to value and quality. There are schools that you go that have good values. You have to pay for their quite expensive. I'm talking to somebody recently, and he was giving me the breakdown of what they spend in their school and what they give to them. You see a pressure of a university that they first give tablets to, they give them things to work with, and all of that. When I got into school, nobody even knew me. We just buy one book. We go to class. They don't even care if you are kidding your tab. You are now on the school portal. You can check things online. It doesn't work that way. They don't even know where you sleep. You have to get your own accommodation, live in town and stuff. But there are schools where once you go to their hostels, things are sorted. You just pay for them, and then you're in the school.
And what makes it?
And the only thing I don't like with some schools is how they restrict their students. Because when you restrict a person for a number of time, by the time they gain freedom, they can go the extreme.
Of course.
And just be doing things they're not supposed to. And how that even some of the students will not sneak in gadgets that were banned in school just to use. They will now suspend them. So for me, the kind of school we went to, you are trained to manage your time, to be in class, to be everywhere. Nobody will come and chase you from those go to class, go to everywhere. You have your own mind.
Yeah.
If not go, you feel. And those days, for me, my life was planned. Class, fellowship, my house. I never missed a class. It was a decision. The day I started hearing that sometimes in some private schools, some students don't go to class. So I was like, how do you do it? Because me, I'm even afraid that this course, I don't want to fail. I have to be in class. I have to learn. 7 o'clock we're in class, so it goes back to the family value where that child is coming from, how disciplined that child is, that when that gets to school and has more freedom, they can manage it.
Also the personality of the child. Now
right,
I want to say something. I've seen a school whereby now I was kind of invited. A colleague of mine, let's say a friend of mine worked there and all that, and she invited me to the school, and I asked her, let me see your curriculum and all that. It's not expensive. When I went through our curriculum, like we said, when I went through our curriculum, I noticed their curriculum was way higher than ours, and we are paying more, and our curriculum was not as enticing as ours.
And that's the quality of the school management
in that school.
Yeah.
So they are paying less.
Yeah.
So the children in that school were receiving more value than.
Yeah, I think we have actually emphasized that a lot. No, we have emphasized that a lot.
Exactly. In this part of the world, it happens. There are some schools that you will pay more, but the value of what they give you might be less if you are not checking well.
Cynthia,
That's a higher
like we were saying, like parents, I think the solution is this. Everybody have their goods out there.
Yes.
It's left for you as parents to make a choice. Don't go the easy route. Check, look before you leap.
Exactly.
Sample before you make
exactly.
So now I like us to really dwell on the higher education part of things. The importance of,
Higher education.
if we say sample, find out, what do you do? How do you choose choose a private, if you want to send your child to a private university in Nigeria? Are you just supposed to look at the price and say, this one is £1 million, this one is 500,000, I better go for this? Is that all that it's all about?
It's not really. It's not really about the money you are paying. It's much more in the value that your child will receive. The curriculum, ask questions. Like I said earlier, I'll first move out of this climb first. There was a time I wanted to do a course with a school abroad, and I said, we would like that you come to the open day virtually, and I joined the link. It was like I was in the school from one building to the other, their curriculum, their facilities. Even from the laptop, like I just jump inside the school, I just go there. Everything was clear. I asked questions, they explained, they took time. They even gave me a personal tour guide. Besides everybody else to take me through, ask questions, curriculum and all. It was so fantastic. It was such a good process. So let's not assume that as a parent, I'd have done the same thing to be sure, and the child will be with me, see what you have there, what you are paying for, so that at the end of the day, while the child will be in the school, my question will be, are they teaching you those things they show you? Are you getting the value? So we will know.
Some schools do it this way. That they were able, the administration was able to, open up and show you their curriculum, their facilities. Does not mean that at the end of the day you get that much value. Sometimes they do, the more you look, the less you see. Because you see, these private schools, some of them are there for the business, part of it. So how do you actually make sure that for real, what you are being told is what you will get at the end of the day?
So the end of my tour was sharing with students. I've got any random student online and say, tell me about the school, and they'll say their experiences. Views from them online and all.
You want
in the school themselves. If you go there physically, you can walk up to any student. She tell you about the school. They will share with her and all. But the bottom line is, parents should do their due diligence. To know that this is what my student will get, and do follow up.
Part of the due diligence that they should do is that every private university has an admission officer.
Of course,
you can get the contact details from the website of this school. So try to ask questions. We have websites in this country that provide additional information about, the school, their exam scores, their pursuit scores, and some other information about this school. There are some rankings in the public space that also rank this university. You could also go to websites such as LinkedIn and find out who are the people. There are times when I want to send my child to a school and I go to the department. When I put the department and the school on LinkedIn, I begin to see people, and I send friend requests to them. Some of them, I check the alumni too. That's another valid thing. I want to see what is happening, because I know that in as much as we want to talk about the individual side of things, that people, you can be hardworking and everything.
Yes.
If you are hardworking and you don't get the right exposure, you are already limited.
And you're working hard the wrong way.
You are working hard the wrong way. Because, see, I had the privilege to study in outside this country. And, when I was leaving, I had the intention of studying for just 1 year and return to my country. But the moment, internet was not this good in Nigeria. The moment I stepped on campus and I connected to the internet, and the speed at which the internet was working. Right there, I said, I'm not going back again. I asked myself, there is something wrong with me that I want to go back. Internet. I never knew that our internet will be this good one day in Nigeria.
It's getting better.
That day, on the day I stepped my foot into the school, they gave me all the IDs and everything, my internet access, password, free internet on campus, access to the computer laboratory of the school, and access to the printers, access to everything, how many things I could print, and I was just like, they wasted my youth in Nigeria. They wasted my youth. Why did I spend all the hard work that I did? By the time I followed the course for some time, I was just thinking about my past. That, my God, I lost so many years working very hard. There was a way you put it.
Working hard the wrong way.
Working hard the wrong way, because you are studying the wrong thing. What you are studying what is given to you. You don't even know the relevance of what you are studying to the economy. So 4-5 years down the line, you come out of school, you now face the economy. They bid you through a convocation ceremony. They bid you goodbye. Then they push you to the world, but you are not seeing your lecturers at this point in time. You are not seeing the school. You are in the labor market. So if what you have been learning in the past 4-5 years has no relevance to the labor market, that is where you get the true results.
I want to emphasize on we have said private schools, they pay attention and all those. We still have public schools, higher institutions that are very, very good.
Yes.
Like you said, if a parent wants to send their child to school, it's not for you to just leave the child, because they are still a child, going to the university around 17, 18.
Maybe they still need supervision.
Yeah, they still need supervision. So you still need to help them. So I think it is good for us to check out reviews, for us to check the alumni. Like Emperor said, he said he will check LinkedIn. You see, everything is now easy now. You can
check
get
them online.
class information online.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get it.
Most of the time,
You can learn anything online.
I think parents go for this high expensive education because they want security for their children. Most federal schools and government schools allow their children to go out anytime, no monitoring and all that. Most private schools monitor their children. Imagine my son coming home. He came home yesterday, and I was saying, he called me that he's at home. I said, okay. Now, before he comes home, they told him to tell the father to call the dean so that they can allow him to leave the school. So most of the times, this high expensive school is based on the parents want security for their children. They want where their children will be safe. They don't want their children to mingle, maybe drugs.
No.
To government school, federal school. Most.
No, my sister. Let me tell you.
Orientation class for before your child goes to this university.
My
I've
sister.
actually attended one, a private university. You need to see what they were telling us. That don't think because your child is here in a private school, you cannot.
That's where the family value comes in.
Don't think.
No, I'm not talking about.
Let me just tell
down to
you.
you. So I'm trying to say that. I'm trying to say that as much more as we have that, private schools are good. Yeah, that we still have the public ones that are very good. It all depends on the parenting too. It depends on
the family value.
Yeah.
My sister, let me go clear you on that. I went to a very wonderful university, and in my days in that school, we used to ask in the morning what color of shirt should we wear so that you be safe, because colors can just come out and fly.
Was it a private school?
No, private school. They come out and fly color. You be seeing them from afar. You can't see their face, but you see maybe yellow beret, blue beret, red beret you ask. So there was one time the school had a major crisis, and then the all guys who were now involved and all of that, they were reinforcing from a close by private school. That was the day I gave up on private school. Yeah, really. And then by the time I married my wife, she went to a private school. So we're now gisting about school life, and then she was telling me about how one guy was smoking, then they caught the guy, some would join the cult, some would jump fence and leave school and come back, some would do things. Like, so what's not the so I'll go somewhere, sir. Yes. And I'm not saying that when it comes to your child's security, I think it's a foundation that you lay in your child from when they are home to live a good life. I went to a school where if I don't go to class, if I go, my parents will not know. I had friends, like 6 of us, that we call ourselves class, we go, we come back. I had people that I knew in school that they never go to class, maybe once or twice. I had people that
Some of us are
we don't see them in class. Exam day.
Nobody checked on me.
Exam day.
On my own.
See, exam day. You don't now see people. And you are wondering, are these people in my class? And they write the exam with us, and they will pass.
Lecture.
So these things. So
40 students, exam about 100
students.
Yes.
So what those things taught someone like me was independent, because then I'm in my room, I'll pay light bills, I'll pay bills, I would organize ourselves. I started planning my finance. That if I pay light, I pay person that will sweep, I pay school levy in a month. How much will I have left? So I should write it down.
You cannot sweep yourself.
No, the compound now.
If you should sweep the compound.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The owner of the house has put
I
out
think
like
there
that.
is something that is very important.
Very, very.
Why do we send our children to school? One of the reason is economic in nature. We want our children to be gainfully employed or run their own businesses,
Yes.
whatever. They should be economically fine by the time they leave the university.
Yes.
Right. So, but now let's face the reality on what it takes, to attain this, the outcome, desired outcome.
Yes.
It requires both the hard skill and the soft skill. So the hard skill is, the core course you are going to study. You went to read accounting. How much of an accountant are you? You're reading law, you're reading engineering, and so on. But today, there's a lot of competition, and the world has evolved.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody is living in the city today, and the soft skills have become more important than ever before. There was a time in this country, by the time you study up to the level of an associate degree, we had associate degree like America. By the time you get associate degree, there is already a job waiting for you. But today, when you have BSc, it's not enough. So people graduate.
It's not a guarantee.
Exactly. So people graduate from the university, they've never taken time to learn how to prepare a CV properly. So they just go to the internet, get a template, and try to put their information in there, and they will think they are prepared a CV. Some have never rehearsed how to face an interview. The first time some people will ever have that experience was in real life, where after submitting an application, and on getting there, some were destabilized, they couldn't tell their stories well, and all of that. Some of these things, this and many more, I believe these private institutions, they've taken time to look into it. They invite professionals, they ensure that
That's why I said
I would like to wrap up. I would like to wrap up this. I'm just trying to say that it's largely missing from our private schools. All of us that are here went to private institutions. I don't know how many of us public schools. I don't know how many of us, had the opportunity to be given these soft skills. So the point I'm just making is that your parents may not be able to afford a private institution.
Yes.
You don't have to go to a private school necessarily to gain all of this. There are some that the same data that you spend on TikTok, on Facebook, and all of that,
Instagram,
you can utilize it on YouTube.
Yes.
to learn these things. Exactly.
You can also
University of YouTube.
There are 20,000 naira courses, 50,000 naira workshops that you can attend that will teach you this thing.
That was what I said. That was what I said. It's a personality thing where you need to add value to yourself. That at the end of the day, how are you open to adding value to yourself?
Yeah.
I remember when we were in school, these things were not there. But now going back to the school, they have all these courses. Like, you people's courses have changed. In our days, it was in there. So I think that we should give the government school, like our people will say now, some kundus that they are doing well.
No, they are
improving gradually. For me, I've seen some levels of improvement though.
Yeah.
That's why I'm speaking this way. At least keep doing it, keep improving, keep getting better. Don't stop, because the things that we didn't have in our days now, they have them now. And the truth is that again, that people should personally add value to themselves.
Papi, I like the fact that you have thrown it back to the people.
Yes.
But I like a system. Its system ensures that once
everything
you go through this, so some of the things that we are talking about, they are not rocket science.
Of course.
So the same institution, the same public institution produce the professionals that are the career counselors in the private schools. So it's all a matter of whether there's an interest in the outcome. When we matriculate students in the first year, if we are interested in seeing them through and ensuring that they are properly empowered, because you can even invite some of your alumni, to come and help, do some of this
and then improve. I agree with you 100%. We could go on and on discussing this, but we really do not have the luxury of time.
Okay, Papi Sam, please let me just drop this.
Okay, drop it like that.
Okay. Do you know that there are children in secondary school, and while they are still in secondary school, they are adding values even before the university? Parents are now doing it these days. They are paying for courses for their children. Children that are writing WAEC, even those in SS2, they are paying for courses for them, and they're already doing it, acquiring courses that does not require their A level and all that, just for them to get that certification. So parents should also know that it's not like you need to have all the money in the world to send your child to school. Once you find a good school that can give your child that level of education that that the child can build from, let that child also build from you as well. Help them. We are not saying have all the money in the world.
Let them start doing it.
Again, you see, if you're saying that like from where you dropped, you said if you cannot afford to take your child to that very expensive school, why not just surf the internet and look for their curriculum? The one your child's school is not adding, just try your best to add it to that child. If they are giving the child a prize in the school he or she is going, you can put the weights in the front, so that everything will pry and weight together, and at the end of the day you have
package that properly. I would say there's also a place for homeschooling. I know parents that they prefer to homeschool their children, even up to the university level.
Homeschooling is a separate concept. Your child is not attending a public school or a private school.
So this is what I'll use this family as a typical example. They went to school till secondary school, till junior secondary school. Okay. So at the end of junior secondary school, they resume homeschooling, and at that point, their mates in school, before they get to the point of doing WAEC and exam, they've done WAEC, they've learned, they move further, and they're adding more values to them gradually. And some do absolute homeschooling, some do them halfway. So what I'm trying to say now, we are in a world where you can have a teacher virtually teach your children, come online, all of these things. There was them a secondary school then came to us and said he wants to write TC. They're like, oh wow, that they are teaching them something like that script to write. Oh, really nice.
Homeschooling is an option, but it's different from your child is attending a school and you are adding, you are bridging the gap, ensuring that your child does not lack essentials.
Whatever you see that the school is not providing and is not adding
to the child,
you try and add it up. You can
leverage on the internet.
What's it called? Internet.
Okay.
I mean YouTube. They can learn anything from the YouTube. You can add that value they are not adding in.
All right, so we can go on and on and on and on to discuss this. We don't have the luxury of time, really. But I'm sure that you'd have picked a thing or two from our conversation, from Emperor, from me, and from these gorgeous ladies. I'm sorry they're married, But the truth is, we need to add value to ourselves and bring an input to the table. And of course, do your due diligence when you want to send your children to school. Ensure that you visit the school, the curriculum, do everything, cross your eyes, dot your T's, and don't assume that it is greener on the other side. It's only greener where you wet them.
And I feel parents should not feel bad that they cannot send their children to a very expensive school. You shouldn't feel bad about that.
Okay.
You should add value to your children. Don't let that weigh you down. And
So to this end, we know we have given you a very beautiful, fantastic, inciting, educative episode. Happy people!
Happy.
Don't think of changing that dial. Just stay back there. And episode will drop soon. But please share, subscribe, like, turn on your notification button so that when we drop videos, you will see it. And please share it abroad. Put it in your status, share it to your friend, share it in your church, share it everywhere you are. Spread the news. Please, we need to grow. Thank you, and mothers and grandmas. Let everybody know this good thing that is happening. Don't keep it to yourself. Spread this gospel of happy family. Thank you very much. We will come your way next time. See you around.